Now check this out. As you guys can see behind me, this is the set where we will be interviewing the legendary T.R.O.Y. Now for some of you that may not know who I am Mickey Factz, the founder and CEO of Pendulum Inc., the very first ever school for hip hop and lyricism. Not to mention, I'm one of the illest MCs that you probably have heard or never heard. Just Google me and you'll figure everything out from there. Now you're probably also asking, why am I interviewing T.R.O.Y. and how do I know the legendary T.R.O.Y.? Well, him and I have known each other for a very, very long time. We have a relationship that spans over about 14 to 15 years, and we literally talk every single day. We talk about everything from music to comic books to the Knicks and obviously production. Now, for us, I wanted us to have this interaction and this talk to not only inspire MCs that are out there, but also producers, the ones that are coming up. And I think you guys are going to learn some interesting things, not only about how to get into the game, how he got into the game and his paying dues sequence, but also how he still remains relevant and hungry to continue his legacy within hip-hop culture. You guys are also going to see an in-depth look about how him and I interact with each other on a consistent basis. So check it out when the time is right. It's Mickey.
Bro, you know how to come show love.
Oh man, it means a lot to me.
This is great. This is greatness.
Yeah, so let's start from the beginning, right? How did paying dues and beat battles help shape you into becoming the producer that you are today?
Beat battles, I could say DJ battles, because DJ battling was something I was, I used to admire when I, used to sit and watch Jazzy Jeff and, the DMC competitions, DJ Scratch and Richie Rich, they all used to come to my house and be in the basement practicing Plastic Man, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Brooklyn DJs, Clark Kent. And, just, messing around with all them guys just kind of got my spirits into that part of DJing. Because, there's many spectrums of the DJ. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so there's the battle DJ, there's the mix DJ, there's the radio DJ, and then there's the party guy. You know what I'm saying? So I was kind of basically almost all of them. You know what I mean?
And when you look back to that time, right? Like you got a chance to work with all of these producers, or at least work with some of the MCs as well. Like, what was that like for you?
It started for me at a young age, being around Marley Marl and meeting him through Heavy D. Also, everyone I met through Heavy D, Teddy Riley, all the producers that I looked up to in the 80s. And that kind of had my mind curious and wanted, and I wanted to delve into, the more of the hip hop scene. Because, I was seeing it as a young kid and was having fun every time I would have to the studio or something like that, and just pick up things like a sponge and just apply it to what I was trying to do.
So the DJ battles, right? What did those look like back in those times?
Oh man, the DJ battles back in the days was awesome, man. You could just go there and see the talent of DJs from the West Coast to the East Coast, and it was like one of the greatest shows on earth that you could just watch and see DJs tricking, doing tricks and all kind of different things with the turntables. And I first saw that with DJ Scratch, New York DJ, Brooklyn, and and then I kind of gradually started seeing everyone else. And
did you get a chance to see any producer beat battles while you were back then?
Back then, not too many. I think I might have been invited to a few, but I never been like a judge or anything like that. I was just kind of peeping the scene. And then maybe once or twice I got involved in a beat battle where I was a judge, where I judged.
And when you were judging, like, what did that look like for you?
It looked like just, you know, it was crazy because, you know, I made my name and stuff like that. And at this point, you know, I worked all the way up until I became who I am. And I think that was one of the things for the audience that was intriguing. And to have me there and listening to all the music that I've been doing that's been playing on the radio, such and such. And so it was a great atmosphere to be in, you know.
Have you been to any beat competitions, you know, as of late?
You know what? I think the last one I was at was, where was this one at? Damn. Oh, I used to do Boombox in L.A. Remember going there a few times. And then New York was at YouTube.
YouTube Studios. Yes,
YouTube Studios, where you killed it. And I brought my drum machine and played some beats, and Cats was rapping, and so that was cool.
Yeah, that was like you. It was you and Big Crit.
Yeah, Big Crit. Shout out to Big Crit.
Shout out to Big Crit.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, it was that I had fun that day. Actually, that was probably one of the ones I remember. Lastly,
right.
Was you was involved.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I tried my best that day. I tried my best that day.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
you know, the history of this beat culture in hip hop, you know, it breeds competition, and it also breeds new upcoming talent, so that, you know, hip hop continues to thrive.
Yes.
You know, and I think that it is very important that we continue to have that level of competition, or at least that level of competitiveness between not only MCs but also producers, to make sure they stay sharp on their game.
Of course.
You know, I think that, you know, this new contest that we're doing, you know, Beat for Beat, it allows for, you know, new producers to come up in the game and showcase their skills, not only against each other but for prominent legends such as yourself.
That's what's up.
You know
That's
what I'm saying?
what's up. And heavy competition is healthy, man.
Very healthy.
You know, especially for hip hop, because it does, like you said, it breeds new guys, you know, and new guys who understand, who follow the leaders that were doing it in the 90s, you know, because we followed leaders in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like a domino effect. And, you know, that's why we do what we do, so people can actually just follow and link on and do what they have to do, but be your own producer. Be your own, have your own identity. You don't have to sound like me or Primo or any other guy.
When I was a kid, you know, I have two sets of musical influences. I have the music that I loved and that I just loved, and then I have the music that inspired me. Right? So like the music that I loved was like Michael Jackson, obviously. I'm a huge John P. Key gospel fan.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
That's surprising.
Yeah.
You know
I'm
a gospel guy too. You know, I'm into that.
Yeah.
You know, all the gospel artists.
So, but then, you know, from the rap side, you know, my OG, Big Daddy Kane.
Of course.
You know, and Wu-Tang.
Yes.
And Big.
Yes.
So for you, who were your musical influences when you were starting out? Both sides, right? Inspiration and just as a kid.
Okay, as a kid, it was all about James Brown. James Brown. To this day, you look on my Instagram, I'm always posting.
James.
Yeah.
He's like a superhero.
Yeah. James, Michael, Luther Vandross, Marvin Gaye, Barry White,
the greats.
Isaac Hayes, Aretha Franklin, you know what I'm saying? Patti LaBelle. Those, as a kid, was music artists and the music that I loved. Inspiration was when hip-hop started. I'm gonna have to say Disco Mario. You know what I'm saying? One of the first founders, Grand Wizard Theodore, Grandmaster Flash, DST, who's DXT, and those guys were the ones who said, "You had me like this, like what's going on? Like what are they doing?" You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, and then you had Treacherous 3, Kumo D, you had Cold Crush. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the ultimate things just started to be born and started happening. Spoonie G, people like that. Love Bug Starsky, rest in peace. You know what I'm saying?
And who are some of your favorite producers today? Like, you know, we're in a post-COVID world. You know, and a lot of people, I think, found their sound during the stay-at-home situations. So who have you been hearing recently that kind of perked your ears?
Alchemist.
Oh, my goodness. He is a monster.
Vitamin D. A lot of people don't talk about this dude. He's amazing. You know what I'm saying? Producer. Who else that I've enjoyed during, you know, all of my peers. Premier. You know, High Tech. Knots. Of course. He's bananas. Ninth Wonder. Crisis.
I was just about to say Crisis. Crisis told me to tell you. He told me to tell you stop playing.
No, come on, man.
Get it together.
I know.
You know, Crisis he's a monster.
Yes, he's a beast, and you know, I remember when his beats were sounding one way, and then I just seen and heard the transition go from one way to next level. To next level. I'm like, this dude's gonna put me out of business. And but you know, music lovers, we really don't go out of business.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We just we actually, when it's in our hearts, we're always gonna express it.
Now you came up around legends. You know what I'm saying? Like just the names that you mentioned, it was just like, wow. You know, I know that you've gotten so much advice from them. What kind of advice would you give to new producers on the rise?
I would always tell producers, hey man, you gotta love this. You gotta have, the passion has to burn like a fire, you know? And till this day, for me, it does that still, you know, because I love music, you know what I'm saying? And regardless of the ups and downs with hip hop, I love hip hop and I love the culture. I love it, from breakdancing to graffiti, you know what I'm saying, to beat making, to MCing. I love it, and it's made me who I am, and I feel it's important that all the youngins get that same mentality, that same mindset of, hey, this thing is bigger than me. It's not just about you. You know, hip hop is huge. So if you're gonna be in hip hop making music, what you do is you just, you know, give a little TLC to your audience. You know what I'm saying? And let them get to know them and let them get to know you. And, you know, all I could say is just shoot for the sky from there. You know what I'm saying? You know,
hip hop is, you know, we're in the 50th year right now. And, you know, you're a legend, a pioneer, and you've been in this space, if not 30 years, almost approaching 30 years. You know, for you, what are you looking for in an upcoming producer, right? Because you were able to see the rise of so many producers, Jay Dilla, you know, Kanye, you know what I'm saying, like Bink, Knots,
the Monster,
you know, all of these, of these guys.
Those are my favorite guys, you know.
Right. So, you know, you were able to see the rise of these producers. So, like the newer ones that are coming out 2023, 2024. What are you looking for exactly in new producers?
I'm actually looking for an ear, someone who has a great ear. For music and hears things oddly and weirdly, as well as, you know, straightforward. So I look for that. I look for, you know, cadence. I look for style, and I look for uniqueness. You know what I'm saying? And that's very important, but to stand alone, you know, because that's something I did, but loved Marley Marl, loved Teddy Riley, Howie T, you know, loved these dudes, but I was like, you know what, I love them, but I don't want to sound like them. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where T.R.O.Y, you know, came in.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for these new producers that are coming up, you know, biting has always been something that's been prevalent. And, you know, we encourage, you know, MCs to have their own style. You know, when you enter into these contests, you know, you want to stand out.
Yeah, bro.
You know, it's very important to, you know, submit content that feels like you and your personality. I think, you know, that's what we're hoping for with Beat for Beat. We want people to, you know, be their authentic self. Bring forth originality, creativity at the highest level. You know, I think from that perspective, people will be able to see what these producers are doing at that high level. And I think, you know, it'll be great for not only producers, right, and the judges, but also MCs to hear different sounds, right? Like when, you know, you think about somebody like A$AP Rocky.
True, that's true.
Right? You think of somebody like A$AP Rocky, right? He's from Harlem, but he had that Houston kind of style in the production, and it was able to uplift that producer from where he was in New York City.
That's what we're supposed to do. That's what it is.
That's what it's all about.
You know what I'm saying? We pick one another up. You see a man down, you pick him up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whether it's you playing him music that he's stuck and he can't make nothing, and you play him something that inspire him, and then he's off and running.
Right.
I love doing that for people.
All right. For me, Pete, you know, this is top 3 beats of all time in hip hop, in my opinion. Let's get into T.R.O.Y. So, who was T.R.O.Y to you and the overall hip hop community?
T.R.O.Y was a really close friend of mine who lived 3 houses down from my mother's house. You know, we all grew up on the block called Hillside Avenue, which it was actually just filming Raising Kanan on my old block. It was crazy to see that. But and T.R.O.Y was like, you know, big brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, taught me a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And you know, just was close-knit, seeing each other every day, always had something to do with each other, and playing or out in the street, playing basketball, doing whatever, doing fun stuff. And, you know, just a close-knit family block, man. You know, anytime there was gatherings, barbecues, anything, it was all together. And so when you have that going on for all these years like that, and getting close to someone like that, he becomes someone special to you. And so, yeah, and he became part of Heavy D and the Boys as one of Hev's dancers.
Now, obviously, you know, that is probably one of the greatest acronyms also in hip hop.
I'll give CL some props for that one, CL Smooth.
So he came up with that acronym. Okay. So talk to us about, you know, the process. How did you find that loop back in 1992?
Hanging out with Large Pro, you know, going to the record store, digging, and, you know, and just took me to some spot in Queens. And we was in there, like, for hours, like we do. And saw the album and was like, what's this? And he obviously knew what it was, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, all right, you know, I like the cover. I'm just gonna buy it, see what's up. And when I did, I took it home. You know, listened to it that, you know, we had lost T.R.O.Y, right? And to this day, I don't even know how I was functioning. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, he was my man. I was depressed. But sometimes music can do wonderful things to you. You know what I'm saying? And so when I heard that song, it did something to me. And I got emotional and started crying, you know, because I was hearing, you know, different parts in the song. Now, Black Sheep used it sample too. They used it first, but they didn't use what I used. They didn't go really deep into the record. They just actually looped the beginning part of it. Which is just the guitar. When you hear the guitar, you'll hear the familiar, you know. And so I listened to the whole song, then played it again, then got emotional, and then stopped the record and just started, you know, crying and said, and something came to me and said, you got to do something with this record. It's making you emotional, so you gotta do something with this for your mans. And so that's what happened. That's how that idea came about. And just started playing with it, man. You know, started with the bass line to the drums to elements in the song.
And, you know, the loop is synonymous with hip hop. You know, I've seen this. It's been in so many, you know, again, I'm I'm an 82 baby.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, my favorite basketball player is Sean Kemp.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, he was on a lot of these NBA basketball tapes.
Master dunker.
And.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then T.R.O.Y would play.
Wow.
You know, and that's how I got introduced to that. Obviously, you know, MTV Jams and things like that. But, you know, I was like 8, 9 years old hearing this. You know, and that saxophone to me is so powerful. You know, in hip hop.
It froze me when I heard it. So
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
You know, so what equipment did you use to create that?
The S900 Akai rack mount. sampler, and my SP, which I use to trigger. Like, but I made the beat on the SP, right? I got the bass line and the drums only, right? Just added more elements, sampling with the 900, which I didn't really know how to use.
Right.
And so once I learned how to use it, I sampled the rest of the elements in the beat, and took it in the studio and did more, and you know, once I had the drums and the bass line and the horn, I was good, you know.
Right, and do you use any different equipment today than you did back then?
I do. I use the MPC. I've used a lot of Akai stuff. MPC Renaissance 2000,
right.
MPC 2000 XL, which I still use right now. And now that the stems MPC is out, I'm curious about that.
So yeah, I heard about the stems MPC where you can remove vocals, remove this, remove that. I think that will take production to the next level.
With my knowledge of records, I'm already geeking.
When is it released?
I'm like, oh my God. These people don't even realize my record collection is so bananas. Right. And just so, like, I got records that people never heard. And there's other dealers and producers that, you know, collect vinyl. Alchemist is a heavy digger. Myself, Madlib, Large Pro, Primo. Yeah, we dig. You know what I'm saying? And that makes a difference in hip hop because you'll always find something different to make. You know what I mean?
Analog versus digital. Where you going?
Analog. All day. That's what I was born to do. Analog.
I believe that.
Yeah, man. With analog, it's the sound. It's the potent sound of the tapes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you record using the SP, that's why I love the SP so much, because it's you know, if you sample a sound in there, it gives it back to you with a punch. You know?
I'm big into YouTube reactions. I like to watch, you know, people react to MCU trailers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I know how I feel when I hear or watch something.
Of course.
So I want to frame this question into 3 pieces, right?
Okay.
How did CL react to hearing that beat?
You know, he had the lyrics written before I even gave him the beat.
Wow. Wow.
That's a fact.
That's crazy.
And I gave him that beat, and he recited the lyrics, did some touching up, maybe took some words out, put some in. There you have it.
And that was that.
That was it.
What was Heavy D's reaction?
Proud of me.
Crazy.
Proud of. He gave CL Smooth his name.
Wow.
So, yeah. So and his brother, my cousin Floyd, gave me my name. And so, but I got that name when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
I was being called Pete Rock. And so, you know, it was just, everyone was so happy. You know, CL we all were just so excited and said, wait till people hear this.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
And the third question for you is, what was your favorite reaction from somebody who heard that beat, like, that has come up to you over the years?
Well, when I mixed the song, it was my engineer, Charlie Brown from Leaders in the New School, sitting in there.
Shout out to Charlie.
Myself, couple of homies.
Right.
The best reaction I ever seen was them dudes crying.
Wow.
Listening to Reminisce Over You. Like tears. Including myself. I couldn't take it. I had to leave the room. Everybody's all
emotional. It's a powerful record.
I was just like, wow, is this record really doing this to me? And seeing everyone else react and wiping their eyes and like, yo, Pete, man.
Right.
I don't think you know what you got here, bro. And I was just bugging out off of that.
And you know, I have to kind of compare this to like a New Orleans funeral, celebration, right? When you think about how beautiful this record is, like it's a beautiful record. And then
shout out to Tom Scott.
Shout out to Tom Scott.
You
but when you think about me hearing this on an NBA highlight basketball tape.
Yeah.
It plays in the club. Like, it plays in arenas. Like, this is, and people say at the very same time, like, when they reminisce over you, my God, right? Like, that is like a phrase in hip hop forever.
Yes,
and when you think about, like, you know, Puff did "I'll Be Missing You," right? Pour This Out for the Homies. What was that record called? Do you remember, from the West Coast? This Is For My Homies.
This is for my homies. This is my, wait, who did this?
That was a.
This is for my homies.
There was the R&B group. I forgot who sang it. But even Crossroads.
Yeah.
Right. These are records that people know are emotional sounding records, but there's a bit of triumph in that song. There's like it's an emotional record, obviously for you, but for hip hop, I think it's a celebratory record.
It is.
And it's constantly celebrating Troy. I think it's just powerful.
The feeling that I always said, I was like, man, I want to feel what they feel, because I don't know if they want to feel how I feel. When I hear that song, I could barely listen to it today,
right?
Because I'm always
thinking of Troy.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, I always wanted to get it from the audience perspective,
right?
Just to see what it felt like. You know what I'm saying?
Now, for the chorus of the song, you know, how did that come together? Did you guys just felt like the saxophone should stay on its own?
Yeah, it wasn't we never had words. We never thought of even doing any words because of the sax. Just kind of like you can't
talk over that.
Yeah, you can't talk over that. You can't talk over such a beautiful sax riff. Right. And so we made the decision to say no hook, man. I'll just do ad-libs. How did the
label feel about that?
They loved it. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe what, you know, I think, you know, for labels, they always thinking about, is it going to hit?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think I surprised them with that one. Yeah.
You know, last question, you know, what is something about this track that people don't know?
Oh, a lot. How it was like, I didn't really go into detail of how I made, like, this secret stuff that I do.
Right.
You know, I put little drums that you don't even hear under it. It's other drums under Reminisce.
Wow.
But it's real tucked, real low. You know what I'm saying? And I just do that for the enhancement of the drums that are out there, outward. And so that, and then the fact that I made the beat, the bass of the beat, in under 10 minutes. Just the bass line and the drums. And everything comes easier after you get like a basic foundation. And then when I just started playing with the record and, you know, I started hearing everything else, I was like, oh, wow, I'm going to grab this, I'm going to grab that. Then when that horn came out, I was just like, no way.
Wow.
No way. I was like, you know what? Got to put this in there. I didn't know it was going to do what it was going to do.
I mean, I think, you know, us as artists, we never know.
No.
But I think, you know, once you were done, you know, and you mixed it, which is also another feat in itself, you know, I think the reaction that you got from the homies,
yes,
let you know what it was.
Yes, shout out to Jamie Staub for a job well done, my engineer who worked on that with me. And such a classic, you know, and I said, you know, after that song, I said, you know, I'm just going to put my best foot forward. And I'm going to do it for Troy, I'm going to do it for hip-hop.
And you did an incredible job.
Thank you, my dude.
Pete, love you, brother.
Thank you, my dude. Love you too, bro.